Hey guys, still here, welcome back to a replay of a ranked game. Not my own today, but it is Magyar, who's playing a South Africa motorized deck, and he's going to be the star of today. He's fighting somebody who's 4 ranks higher than himself. This is CJ Lumac, if I'm seeing that correctly. Now, normally you get Sergeant Major, you get Second Lieutenant, First Lieutenant, Captain, and then Major. So there's quite a big gap in ranks. Not necessarily a big gap in skills though, as if you just keep your win rate above 50%, you'll eventually rank up. It's kind of an inevitability. Anyway, we are today on this map, Plungeon Valley. And what's going to happen here? Well, it's South Africa Motorized who's the star of the show, so that means he's going to be flanking absolutely everywhere. South Africa is one of those nations that I would love to play. I play them every once in a while and then I go, ah, right, that's why I don't play them. Because they're just not that good at staying. Their staying power is fairly low. Their ability to take hits is, well, negligible, essentially. And their ability to really dish it out and get out is excellent. That's the breakaway side, that's the counter side. But can you really rely on that in ranked? I mean, South Africa in ranked is kind of hard mode. Anyway, what do we have? We have 2 Rooikats 76 and a couple of Caspier Mark IIs. You just split those, going to the left in Foxtrot. A double Rooikat, as well as a Ratel and a Buffel, going to the right side. Again, these combinations, pretty good Rooikats. I love these things. 50 points, 120 kilometer off-road speed, 60% stabilizer for a 50-point unit with 12 AP. Don't expect to take a tank head-on, you won't win that. But if you take a tank from the side, well, you'll definitely pen that, like this T-72B1. 8 side armor, it means that you won't instantly kill it, but you'll do a fair amount of damage. Now, I'm going to be jumping around the map quite a bit. I'm mostly going to be watching this replay zoomed out like this, because South Africa is everywhere. That's kind of South Africa's thing. I mean, it's a fair playstyle with most decks, motorized decks that is, just be everywhere. But especially with South Africa, because you cannot take them head on. First encounter over here on the right, where a couple of Bokop 90 are dropped off. They just managed to make it into the building before the Spatsnaz grew engaged. And over here the Rooikats are trying to assist, but they're already getting shot at by Concours M. Sadly, the Rooikats, while firing, do lose one of their 2 units. The other one dashes up the ramp into safety. Excellent. That's safe. Spatsnaz Grew versus Bokop here is of course no contest, because these guys are far, far, far better than Bokop 90. And Bokop 90, they do get that pretty decent tank weapon, but they're just line infantry, so against elite special forces, they're not really going to stand too much of a chance. What about the other Rooikats? Well, they too are moving up. I'd say at this point, the enemy player has a fairly good idea that he's facing South Africa. Because the Rooikat 76, the Bokop, it's all South Africa. And South Africa does not gel with any other nation. They're not in coalitions. The only way that you could get them is by playing a blue deck, so a NATO deck general. Or a NATO deck motorized for that matter, but no coalitions. So he should be expecting flanks. He should be expecting to start seeing units pop up everywhere. He should be buying base defense. He's not. That gives an opportunity to these Rooikats, potentially. He's taken the buildings over here. A couple of Buffaloes. No spotter, though. These guys have their Milan F1, which I am not a fan of. Their accuracy is absolutely disgustingly bad. 40%. Yeah, maybe on paper, but in my case, it's more like 20%. I just don't really get any hits with these guys. Small conflict in the middle, as SASF move towards a position that's being held by a couple of VDV and their accompanying transports. SASF, good as they are, have no machine gun. They do have a nice Appalass, so if the Scrajheads get too close, they will face the consequences. And they do get too close, and they do face the consequences. So that's the Scrajheads dead, that's one of the VDV squads almost wiped out, but one of the SASF has already paid for that. Now, note how these Rooikats are just completely bypassing the position here, which arguably is not a bad position. I mean, it's a Spatsnaz Grew spotting, it's T-72Bs, but Rooikats don't play by the rules. They just flank you whenever they goddamn please. So this is exactly what happened. He flanked around, and I think they never even saw them. Because our major over here is not making any moves to defend his position. He did just capture a couple of logistics units, and the Roycats now have an opportunity to neutralize Echo. Now, the major here takes the issue in his own hands, takes the matter in his own hands, and moves the CV away. The K-52 is coming home, trying to defend against the incursion, and it has managed to succeed in killing off one of the Roycats, but there's another one. This Roycat, however, dancing around in concealment with medium stealth, might just be able to get the kill. If it can get close enough, if it can see through the scrubs here, it might be able to pull it off. Oh, he's taking fire. He spotted the CV, gun turning, 99% accuracy, and killed the CV. Echo is neutral. Had that not worked, he still had the other Roycat 76 from the other flank. Yes, patience is key here. Driving all the way through the forest and getting all the way on the other side of Echo. So at this point, there's only one CV left from our major, and he has to pack that up in the Mi-8 and bring it back home. Which is where the Roycat could be eagerly awaiting it. This, by the way, would have been a fantastic kill for the other Roycat, because, well, when airborne, this thing is hard to kill with the Roycat. Not impossible, but unlikely. But this is a one-shot, one-kill. Anyway, the CV's been packed up, and in the meanwhile, our South Africa player is moving forward and gaining quite a lot of points. +3. This is going to be very handy. Getting this lead in, very nice. Now, the Mi-8 is coming back, and had Magyar had a bomber ready or something like that, he could have pretty easily won this game right about now. Because, yes, there is some NTR. Here's an OSA. There's another... Was another OSA over here? Oh, I guess he killed it. So, flying around this side probably would have been fairly safe, and he could have neutralized the CV, and thereby winning the game. But sadly, the CV lands just here, just shy of the Roycat. So at the moment, he cannot engage. At this point, the red player, of course, gets his spawn back, starts spawning in aircraft such as the Su-24M. Which is a large carpet bombing on the Roycat 76, missing it, but essentially wiping out his own forces. I love how by the way, how the captured Urals are still down there. They could be anywhere at this point. Now, important is that this +3 is forcing Lumac to immediately start buying CVs. So we got a CV going to middle, to Delta, we got a CV going to Fox, and he has to stop the bleed. He has to do something. Yeah, the CV here died, courtesy of the Roycat, so that's another CV that's been killed. That's the second CV that South Africa has scored. At this point, there is very little defending this area, but a K-52 and a Scrajjet, as well as VDV, are no joke. So unfortunately, the Samil do take a hit, and the Parapathfinders did not get dropped off in time. These guys are fantastic against enemy infantry, but out in the open, they really don't have a lot of choice. They just have to move forward or move back into cover. That's their two opportunities. And the other one is die, which is, of course, a fairly undesirable outcome. Over here, Parabat moving forward. They can spot each other. Now they can't. So the Parabat might have an opportunity here to go directly for the next command unit. Again, he is flanking everything and everywhere. It's frustrating to play against South Africa, or it can be. But once again, the red player is making no moves on defending his spawn. There's no Scrajjet line. There's no reservist for all I care. No cheap fire support vehicles which are defending the CV or the FOB. Nothing. Just nothing. And this Roycat has so far managed to evade detection and can be instrumental in detecting anything that comes in. Not necessarily shooting it, but information is such a valuable weapon that it could be handy just keeping this thing here with its weapons off. At this point, the T-72B seems to have engaged... Yeah, it engaged the ZAHVM, the NTR unit. Did not succeed in killing it, and now a couple of Buffaloes might be able to get that kill. In the meanwhile, the Spetsnaz GRU have managed to succeed in eliminating the Roycat 76 that was killing off one of the CVs. And he, Red 4, has scored 0 points. Blue, 131. So that's a nice lead. Here, the Parabat have been detected. and swiftly dealt with by the BTRTs and the Sapari. A fairly classic lineup in a Red 4, USSR deck, having the BTRTs in there. These are such good units. Pretty difficult to deal with for infantry. 13 frontal armor is a lot. And the AGS-17 is annoying. It can very quickly chew through your infantry. At this point, Magyar has captured the FOB, and the Roycat almost succeeded in getting to the next CV. But sadly, the SU-7... No, not the SU. The K-52 managed to get the kill. Another CV is being brought in, and this is his last airborne infantry CV. So he's probably going to be down to his UAZs at this point. Once again, more infantry from Magyar is coming in. He keeps getting more and more infantry, well, essentially everywhere. There's a bit on the left, there's a bit on the... Well, there's not a bit on the right. He's pushing the middle, sort of. And, well, these BTRTs are going to be annoying to deal with, especially with the Casper K cars. Rattle 20s, not really. In this case, you're going to need something like an Olifant, a tank of some sort. Doesn't have to be a very good tank, just a tank that can sustain fire from grenade launchers. Over here, Buffalo 85 dealing with Spetsnaz Gru, or should I say the Spetsnaz Gru dealing with the Buffaloes. As the Buffaloes now are also going to face the wrath of this tank. And they lose the fight. There's the BTRTs doing some damage against the Parabat and taking some shots at the Rattle 20s. But once again, Red is a bit on the defensive. Buying 2 more CVs. He is chewing through his points, getting a lot of CVs, which wasn't strictly necessary had he just defended Echo better. Over on the right, the situation is pretty quiet, but some Spetsnaz Gru here are making a move. Again, Spetsnaz Gru combination with T-72B1. And the Buffaloes, as kind of predicted, do not get a shot. Or, well, they do get a shot, but they consistently miss the tank. The tank making it very difficult for them to hit, as it's constantly backing up and then taking a shot, moving forward, backing up again. The Buffaloes currently a little bit busy dealing with Spetsnaz Gru, Spetsnaz Gru firing back with a sniper rifle. But now the Spetsnaz Gru have a bit of a problem as 2 Eland 90 arrive and take a shot, although they also get shot by the T-72B1. Any more flanking attempts? Why, yes, of course. SASF on the far left going through the woods. Over here, we got more Parabat and Bokop. I think they're a bit too close and operating without fire support. But hey, if the Parabat can head out to the T-72B1 and kill it, they can even get a couple of free logistics trucks as a nice prize. At this point, Red 4 has succeeded in parking CVs in almost all the sectors and is now at a +2. So, something needs to happen if our South African hero here wants to get more of an opportunity to win. Here's the T-72B1. Oh, he's going for the transports. That's the Logi. Oh, I think he might not have seen the tank there. Or he didn't prioritize it. Still, after 15 minutes of play, no base defense. There is some base defense over here. Just a couple of Oryxes and a Casper K car. It's going to make it more difficult for Red to get into Charlie. Not impossible, I mean, you've got a whole lot of area to get through. But it's going to make it a bit more difficult. No such thing from Red. Another 2 Roycat 76 in the Rattle 20s, which probably have dropped off the Bokop before, moving forward, attempting to get shots at the enemy. What I think we really need here, and it's already on the way, is the SASF. Special Forces with Stingers can very quickly deal with the KA-52, which is scouting quite a lot. The Rattle 20s not giving a shit, moving forward and attempting to get shots at, well, whatever they can find. Roycat 76 split, covering more of the area and potentially getting side shots on the BMPTs, which would be very handy. Because otherwise, the BMPT, with its autocannon, 3 AP, can really mess up your Roycat 76. But then again, so can a K-52 with an autocannon. Parabat 90 trying desperately to save their hides, and they do manage to kill one of the BTRT, but not enough. And the BTRT survives, the Parabat do not. Lumac still at a +1, it's because we have a counter cap here, and I am kind of expecting a CV for Foxtrot as well, so at least Magyar can maintain his lead. SASF resupplying at the captured logistics trucks. I think this is absolutely gold. These guys took a bit of damage before, and have now been able to resupply at the captured supply trucks, which we're patiently waiting for any further special operations. Oh, it's fantastic, just this constant flanking. It's so annoying if it happens, but if you're the one who's pulling it off, it is hilarious. This does not look like a fight that's gonna go well. Casper Mark IIs have no chance against the BMPT. Buffaloes with their Milan at short range are, well, I don't know, they might miss a little bit less than normal, but the Buffaloes and the Parabat are in such close proximity that they're both getting rained on by autocannon and grenade launcher fire from the BMPT. VDV now taking the front line, as well as Skrajets, so that the BMPT can deliver fire support. Same thing happening here. It's just the BMPT, there's BTRTs with Sapari. He's trying to recover this forest. But once again, not covering his flanks, so the SASF walk right into Echo. BMPT making life very difficult on Australia? I'm not sure where Australia came from. On South Africa. The Buffaloes, again, utterly unable to hit anything, but everything is hitting them. Two Jalos are extremely efficient at dealing with infantry. Roycat 76 got way too close to the Skrajat and the VDV, and the SASF have to run for their lives, but I'm afraid they cannot quite outrun the rounds from the Skrajat. Same for the BMPT, you're going to have to be quick about it, and yes, they did get the kill on the BMPT before they died, so that made their purchase worth it. They also, just with the last shot before they died, killed the Skrajat. That leaves the VDV over there. Over here on the right, there's not too much happening. There's still a Buffalo squad desperately trying to kill a tank, but of course, being a Milan F1, well, you can kind of expect the outcome there. Do we have a CV on the way yet? Nope, not yet, but we do have more infantry. We got a Puma 3... Oh, sorry, there. The CV has already arrived. Puma 330H, you can see him constantly looking for opportunities to flank, to be annoying, to kill stuff. Speaking of opportunities to kill stuff, the SASF with their Stinger might be a very nice toy to use against the K-52. Not sure if they've noticed them yet. SASF over here, holding the position. Not really going to make that much of a dent in all these forces. But just that one Puma at least gives him information that the SASF might be at risk. He now also brought in a couple of Olifant Mark 1B. Not terribly good tanks, in the sense that their survivability is not that great for a tank. It's 11 frontal armor, but it's a very punchy and accurate gun. It's 16 AP, 60% accuracy. Just don't really fire these things on the move as much as you would with the Roycat, because their stabilizer is far worse. Look at the SASF. Can they see anything? No. Can he see them? Absolutely not. Just look at these guys. Just chilling out in the middle of Echo. Close to the supply point. Sorry, close to the spawn point. He's still not seeing anything. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, boy. He's just looking for the CV. If he gets this is going to be the second time that the CV has been killed at base. It's fantastic. Now, at this point, we have an 18-minute game left, that is. We have Magyar with South Africa at 131 points, Lumac at 117, so they're very close. And I think that the second half of the game, well, let's say maybe more after the first 10 minutes of the game, is usually harder for South Africa, because South Africa is fantastic at getting into positions quickly, and then trying to hold on to that position desperately. When the enemy starts to recognize, oh, it's South Africa, defend flanks, just get anything that has more than 2 points of armor and you'll essentially be fine. Wait, did that Buffalo hit something? Wow. Okay. Just get something that has a bit of armor and that can deal with, let's say, 2 points, 3 points of armor in case of the Roycats, and you have a fairly potent force against South Africa. So that's why you're seeing all the BMPTs come out. Good enough autocannon, fantastic grenade launcher, fantastic 2A70 long-range cannon, 15 frontal armor. This is a nightmare for South Africa to deal with. Unless you call in the... Oh, yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Unless you call in the Buccaneer, which is South Africa's, I'd say, secret weapon. Okay, so, Magyar +1. No further spawns for Red 4. You can see that Red 4 has concentrated a lot of forces here. So at this point, he kind of has to push. Oh, no, don't push. Because you're about to encounter very, very bad things. Just push with the tanks if you want to push anywhere. No! Well, that was one BTRT dead. If they all come at them single file, that'd be wonderful. Shoot! Yeah, the second BTRT. Now they're stunned. They're stunned. Shoot! BMPT hurt, not dead. These things have a reload of a few more seconds than you would like. 10 rounds a minute rate of fire as opposed to 20. And I think the Burgermach are going to take the worst of it. Yeah, these guys are dropping like flies. Without really dealing any kind of damage, because they're probably panicked, stunned, or whatever else is happening to them. Ah, Lumek has now captured a Samuel cargo, which promptly gets destroyed by the Ratel and the Olifants. And the Olifants, well, in Dutch, or maybe Afrikaans, it would be Olifanten, get the opportunity to deal with some of the vehicles that stick out. SASF holding a position where they killed the CV, and there's another CV coming back. Now at this point, I think Magyar could have known that the CV was coming out of this one, because Delta is not getting decapped. This one is. This one's now fully capped by him, so the CV has come out from there. So ideally, move the SASF into a position where you can greet them. But sadly, he is not doing that, and just on the edge of the sector is the UAZ. Once again, allowing Red 4 to spawn, but by losing the Echo sector and moving the CV from Bravo, there was a temporary +2 and is now +1. So South Africa's still winning. Not so much this battle, but the war at large, yes. Casper K-cars with autocannons. Yeah, they might deal something with the Sapri, but against BMPTs, it's an absolute disaster. But that's when the Olifanten come in, and they start dealing with the infantry and push back the BMPTs, the BTRTs, and whatever else happens to survive. This is a nice coordinated maneuver. Over here, SASF dealing almost with the KA-52, but just shy of getting the kill there. I think they did kill one of the Zalos. Not quite getting the full kill on it, on both of them. But once again, the CV and Echo had been killed. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, well, shame on this Major for not defending his base. He should have known better. I mean, you're a Major. You should know that base defense is going to be fairly important here. Parabat taking a very, very adventurous road right across the field. Spatznaz Gru opening up the sniper rifle and promptly getting sniped by the Mark 1 Olifant. Parabat here with the Sapari. Sapari shouldn't be that much of an issue. Just get the tanks forward and the Casper K cars. But again, I'm operating with perfect information and he is not. Red 4 again calls in a CV because he cannot let South Africa hold this sector all by themselves. We also have some movement here from a couple of Burgermach. Terrible units, as you saw before, but they're okay if you want to probe something. Just don't expect them to probe anything fast, because they travel at 15 kilometers an hour. The battle here is still raging. Olifanten still holding the position, a little low on fuel. They might need to get a supply truck sent to them. Look at that, that's good accuracy there. 85, 79%. XTP Beta 87 with rocket pods, dealing with all the infantry. The Kukris are going to come in useful in case that K-52 shows up. And if they don't, well, we still got the snaps, we still got the auto... Well, we don't have the autocannon anymore because the OSA just decided that that was enough. The position here is fairly weak. Burgermach will definitely not win from Spatznaz Gru, especially now that the T-72B1 decides to show up. But this is potentially more of a distraction than anything else. Motorized motto is generally push everywhere, and that's exactly what he's doing. But he is also getting pushed, or about to be. Look at how nicely these troops are lined up. BTR-80s here, Morskaya Pakota there. There's just one section of Parapathfinders and a Sample 50, which is unarmed, dealing with that entire group. That is ambitious and potentially very problematic. Royka ZAHVM dealing with the SU-24, but can it get the kill? No, but the SU-24 got the anti-air. Doesn't matter, because we still got a Casper K-car, 2 Olifanten, and 20 Parabat. Immediately, defenses are being thrown up here. Finally. By the Major. And the Casper K-car against Morskaya is very quick. Although, actually no, this was the BTR-80A that got the kill with the autocannon. T-72B1 against Olifant is not a good fight. Let's go back here, because the Pathfinders are now in contact with the enemy, and while they did inflict some casualties against the Morskaya, they have nothing on the BTR-80As. And they do very, very quickly meet their demise. Buffaloes, 86% chance to hit. So, they get the hit. Congratulations. Another 86%. Reload, reload, reload. And miss, because the BTR ducked back into cover. Morskaya is consolidated into one big blob of 38 men. This would be a perfect target for something like a helicopter. Sadly, that is not the case, as I think Magyar is operating mostly in the middle and managing that. LordenIII is winning the fight with BTR-80A, and now they're being sent to deal with the Morskaya, as the Bokhop desperately needs some help. But they're too close, and the Morskaya Pakota take out one of the Rattles. There's more LordenIIIs here. In this case, I'd say split. Send something here. Oh, actually, maybe not. Send something here and then send something there, because you know the CV is most likely going to be hiding in one of these towns. CV here is back. I'm not really seeing any flanking opportunity here, or at least not any flanking maneuvers yet by Magyar, but maybe he's going to do something later. Bokhop. Oh, no, not in the open. Not against the T-72B1. You're going to be dead very, very quickly. That's going to be 4 HE every shot. That's not fun. Buffaloes and Morskaya still fighting it out. They have lost quite a few forces, but at this point the Commandant is very much at risk. The Buffaloes need to man up and start hitting these BTR-80As before they get to the Commandant. What do we have here? A Beta 87. Well, there's not a beta moment for this thing to arrive, because these BTR-80As really need to get dealt with. Do they see him? They don't see him. Autocannon at the ready. That's one weapon jammed and one optic failure. And the rocket pods stun the other guy. I think that was a few meters away from detection. So this guy saved the CV. Very nice. The officers must be happy. Over here, Burgermach. I think again more of a distraction than anything else. T-72B1 still dealing a lot of damage. This guy has already expended half of his ammunition. Morskaya Pakota again with a couple of Casper Mark IIs, and of course the Casper is not going to win that, but it's a nice distraction. More Eland 90 being brought in. He needs something better if he wants to deal with the T-72B1. Over here we got a couple of Casper K-Car, which of course the K-52 is well aware of. And the Jalo, as well as the T-72B1, should have no problem hitting these things if they just take a moment to aim. And they do. And they both get shot at. And will swiftly die. There you go. But again, he was trying to flank, trying to distract, trying to annoy the enemy. Doing extremely well at that. The left flank has finally started collapsing. Morskaya Pakota, once again, trying to maneuver into a position where they might be able to find the CV, but they haven't found it yet. SU-24 coming over, that's the Seed aircraft. I don't believe there was anything Seed worthy out there. Actually, no, there was, because he fired a missile at something. Might have been the explosion we saw here. So, South Africa's NTR over here is very lacking, and the Cactus is going to make sure that it's less lacking, hopefully. Over here, Bokhop being offloaded. Note how he drops them off early, not right over there, because then the Morskaya are going to kill off the LordenIII. I hope he's going to do the same with the Casper K-Cars. Drop off, drop off, drop off. Now would be a good time. Now would be a better time. Wow, he's moving back. Drop! Drop! Mi-28, interesting. Drop! You're gonna be dead. Okay. Well, they dropped Burgermach at the ready. This combination is generally not so much that you get the Burgermach, but that you get the Casper K-Car as cheap as possible. Because it's a 15-point autocannon truck. It is very nice. Its accuracy might not look like much, but it has quite a bit of ammo and a very healthy rate of fire. As well as the ability to pierce armor. So that combination is quite nice. And can deal fairly swiftly with a bunch of Morskaya Pakota. Look at that. Dying very quickly, but they are in range. And the Morskaya take no shit from that and return fire at the Casper K-Car. I'd say they need to be jumping building forward, forward, forward and just killing them off. And they do. Over here in the middle, not much has happened for South Africa, except them getting pushed back pretty hard. The T-72B1, look at the ammo. 9 rounds left out of 28. Almost all of the machine gun ammo gone. At this point, 7 minutes left. 250 points for our Sergeant Major. Only 117, it's about half, for CJ Lumac. He needs to do something if he wants to win this. Over here, more Buffaloes offloaded, but the Morskaya Pechota are not giving up. And they're now getting support from the Mi-28, which is something that South Africa at the moment has very little response to, except for the Beta 87. If this thing, with its cookies, can deal with the Mi-28, that would be a nice win. It's not going to be easy though, because there's 3 Scrasjet operating there. It's going to be potentially dangerous. Over here we have the Buffaloes, which are getting wiped out by the T-72B1s. Another Rattle with Bokop 90 trying to get into a position where they might be able to deal with these tanks, but it's going to be difficult. More Burgermacht dropped off. T-72 getting shot at by the Buffaloes, but hey, it's a Milan F1, it's not going to hit. That's not how this game works. At this point, the CV over here is in direct contact with the enemy, and the Mi-28 has expended its rocket pods, but can still fire with the autocannon. If it's not getting killed by a Cactus SAHV. Sadly though, the VDV are the ones that eventually get the kill. And that means that the Major is once again at a +1. So in a daring move, Magyar calls in a Buffle to try and countercap this one. This sector here is 2-pointer of Delta. If he pulls that off, he is going to be able to get a +1. He's also going to try and flank with this XAH-1 Alpha. This is going to be an interesting flank. These helicopters, very small, poor stealth, but they have an autocannon, the GA-1. And if he can get a flank, he might be able to kill 1, maybe more CVs. Let's see. There's only a few minutes left, and the position here on the left is pretty shit. The Olifanten have finally arrived, but at a time where there's really nothing for them to shoot at because they have no spotter. SG-24M dropping again on the Buffaloes. There were so many HGMs coming out of this building that it's a safe bet there's still something there. And that's when another group of Morskaya Pechota come forward with cover from BTR-80A, with cover from the tank from over there, and the Buffaloes very quickly start dying. Casper K-Car is being sent forward to deal with infantry out in the open. And they are. The infantry, especially this squad, is very quickly dying, but is it fast enough? Not really. Not really. And the BTR-80s are able to deal with the Casper K-Cars just fine. There is still 2 available tanks here, and the Casper K-Cars, as well as the Rattle 20, are going to get dealt with very swiftly. At this point, though, we have our next flanker, XH-1 Alpha. Let's see what we can find today, shall we? I think it's a nice day to hunt CVs, don't you? There's one just spawned in. There's one parked over here. Shame if something would happen to that. Well, maybe you should have bought base defenses. Otherwise, shit like this happens. XH-1 Alpha gets the kill. That's a CV. 2 1989 T-72s are getting spawned in. The other CV's immediately taken up the position here. The K-52 that used to be roaming around here is now in Delta, so he took a really poor time to maneuver. He spots the other CV. Is he going to do it? Of course he's going to do it. It's an XH-1 Alpha. It doesn't care. Come on. Yep. CV dead. You gotta enjoy dealing with South Africa. You gotta enjoy dealing with him. Another CV coming out of Delta, putting Magyar at a +2. K-52 came home, dealing with this guy. Yeah, unfortunate. At this point, the CV from the Foxtrot is being pulled away, so he doesn't lose the +2 from there. And at this point, he only has 2 minutes left to get a lot of points. So he's gonna have to try and push hard. So all the Morskayas, all the tanks are being pushed forward. BTR-80s getting ready for a maneuver. Unita and Bokop defending the town, as well as Casper K-Cars on the flank in case any infantry decide to move forward. But of course, if these tanks decide to make a move, well, it's going to be annoying. Sadly, for these tanks, the Unita have some shots. And they are able to get a couple of, well, can they get a hit? Yep, they got another, no, sorry, that was a miss, actually. But, yeah, that one tank is not alone. There's 2 more. And he spawns a new CV because another CV has just arrived back from Foxtrot. At this point, our Major is planning on sending a CV right into Alpha, which I think is optimistic. The legendary Buccaneer deals with 1 tank, almost 2 tanks, before being evacuated. And at this point, the CV... Yeah, there's 2 CVs here, I think. Yeah. 1 Buffle was just holding the sector, and the other Buffle was being sent forward to Delta. I covered that earlier, but it's not going there anymore because the situation has changed to the tune that it is absolutely unsafe to go there. Now, I think this Major could have very comfortably won this battle if he had just gotten base defenses. I mean, it is very straightforward. If you deal with South Africa, get base defenses. Cover your flanks. Make sure that getting into Echo is impossible. Transports, helicopters, infantry, I don't care. Cover up Echo. Because he lost 4 CVs to that zone. I think, based on the number of UAZs that are alive versus the ones that are dead, I think he's out of CVs now. It doesn't matter though. Because with just 7 seconds left, Magyar has a lead. 272 points versus 154. Not a win for our Major here. In fact, you could call this a major victory for Magyar. Very well played. Did he lose a lot more stuff? Yes. 3,330 points in kills, 4,000 points in losses. But he managed to successfully kill a lot of CVs, repeatedly kill CVs in Echo, and just get a ton of damage done to the enemy overall. Especially to his ego, because CJ Lumac over here got completely outplayed by the flanks of South Africa. Hope you guys enjoyed the match. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and if you have any matches of your own that you'd like me to cover, link down below in the description is sending in your own replays. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon for more.